Good evening, welcome to Look North. We start with a countryside stroll that ended in tragedy. A jury says a man who was trampled by a herd of cows was killed accidentally. His wife now depends on a wheelchair.
I was found sort of face down, which I think is how I've ended up with a spinal cord injury, because they've potentially rolled on me or trampled on me or whatever.
The coroner has called the number of fatal accidents involving cows truly alarming. Also tonight, we'll hear from the Shipley homeowners who've been told their properties won't be protected by flood relief work on the River Aire. From Bradford to Berlin and back again, the American football player now hoping to return to his Yorkshire rugby roots. And she's attempting 100 marathons in 100 days. That's on top of doing her day job. I'll be getting some running tips from the incredible Vicky Hogg.
Another frosty night to come with 1 or 2 snow showers. Lots of sunshine tomorrow. Join me for the very latest forecast.
Hello, thank you for joining us. A jury has reached a verdict of accidental death after a man was trampled by cows during a countryside walk near Wakefield in 2020. Michael Holmes was walking on a public footpath with his wife and 2 dogs on leads when a herd of cattle and calves charged at him. He died at the scene. His wife was badly injured and she now depends on a wheelchair. The coroner said the number of people killed in incidents like this is truly alarming. Heidi Tomlinson was in court for us today.
It was a lockdown dog walk through fields in Netherton near Wakefield, which ended in the most unexpected and horrific way. Michael and Teresa Holmes were working from home that day in September 2020. They took a lunchtime stroll on a public footpath through a field with cows and calves.
And my understanding is the cows are in the bottom right-hand corner and we wouldn't have been able to see them anyway. They approached from behind. I was found sort of face down, which I think is how I've ended up with a spinal cord injury, because they've potentially rolled on me or trampled on me or whatever. But my husband was found on his back and he'd got very bad chest injuries and he sort of died instantly from that.
Teresa has no memory of what happened on that day, but the couple were filmed on CCTV cameras of nearby houses. They can be seen walking through the fields with the cows grazing behind them, and then shortly after, the herd begin running towards them. Doctors say Teresa was lucky to survive. She's now paralysed and depends on a wheelchair. At an inquest today, a jury returned a verdict of accidental death.
There should be some clearer legislation about farmers displaying signs when they've got calves in the field. My message would be always be very wary of cows and cattle, and it's obviously at your own risk if you do that, but we know they're very dangerous creatures and perhaps more could be done to protect the public from them.
The coroner said that it's clear that cows with young calves don't mix with dogs. And he's called on local authorities to work with farmers to stop dog walkers using footpaths when cattle are grazing with their calves. In 2020, 11 walkers were killed by cows, a figure the coroner described as truly alarming. Michael Holmes died at Hollinghurst Farm, which is owned by Martin Mitchell, who said he was unaware the cattle could be aggressive. But there had been similar reports of the animals targeting people in the same field.
We didn't know about the previous problems in the field, and now we do. It means this incident could have been prevented, and Mick would be with us today.
Teresa wants to see a new law to protect walkers and to ensure no one else loses their life in such terrifying circumstances. Heidi Tomlinson, BBC Look North, Wakefield.
Next night, for many, your home is your pride and joy, but when you live somewhere that can flood, every time the rain starts to fall, then you'd be forgiven for starting to worry. That's especially true for almost 50 households at risk from the River Aire. Now, they've been told there's no viable way to prevent them being flooded, and that's despite £250 million being spent on flood defences for the river. Olivia Richwald has been to meet people who live on Branksome Drive in Shipley.
We just started decorating again and forgot all about that we'd wrote this in the floor from the flood. It was above the countertops, so yeah, over a metre.
This was Branksome Drive in Bradford on Boxing Day 2015. Houses were inundated and property destroyed. The clean-up took months. It was deeply upsetting for residents like David. He lives about 200 metres from the banks of the River Aire, and every winter David and his neighbours face the very real threat of being flooded again.
We're part of the flood group. It's an automated system. They give you a ring, they tell us that we're at risk, and then they send us a text. It just makes you uneasy all the time. When it starts coming into the halfway across the field, then I start panicking. It's a matter of, it could be half a day.
Since 2015, David has installed water-resistant air bricks and flood doors, and there are pumps in the concrete-lined space under his home. He's had 3 near misses in the past 7 years. Millions of pounds of flood alleviation work is taking place all along the River Aire catchment, from Malham to the centre of Leeds. This is work underway right now in Appley Bridge, but the authorities cannot protect everyone, and David's house is one of 48 properties identified as not viable for flood defences.
50 properties being flooded 10 times is as bad as 500 properties being flooded once. In fact, I would argue it's even worse, and yet funding for flood defences do not reflect that.
Bradford Council and the Environment Agency have identified 48 properties at several locations in the Shipley constituency at high risk of flooding from the River Aire, and assessments, though, confirm that neither upstream storage nor walls or embankments provide the viable options to protect these properties.
Stuart Hunter has lived on Branksome Drive for 25 years and was flooded in 2000 and 2015. He's disappointed.
Well, I think it's disgusting, really. I mean, they were saying that it only took 40 houses out, so it didn't warrant that kind of work doing to it. But I'd like to see something done about it, some flood prevention. That'd be a start.
We haven't really had an explanation why we haven't. So it's annoying. You know, I mean, you might only say it's 20 houses, but it's our 20 houses.
DEFRA has announced a £100 million fund for small communities which have suffered repeated flooding, but are not big enough to qualify for major works. It's hoped the 48 homes in Shipley will be included. Olivia Richwald, BBC Look North, Bradford.
Well, in a statement, Bradford Council say they are carrying out an assessment. These new surveys will take into account the latest modelling for the River Aire and consider what measures are already in place, their condition, what additional measures are needed for each property and the cost of these. Each property is likely to have different requirements. You're watching Wednesday's Look North, still to come on tonight's programme. What's happening with those shipping containers in Sheffield? We reveal the council's options. But first, residents of 5 floors in a block of flats in Sheffield have been told to move out straight away. The local fire service have imposed a prohibition notice saying remedial work being carried out was increasing the risk to residents. They say it's a last resort. Mark Ansell is on the wicker for us tonight. Such an upheaval for residents there, Mark.
Absolutely, Amy. So people living on the floors 6 to 10 in the building behind me, Wicker Riverside, were told to leave immediately yesterday over fire safety concerns. Actually, the whole building was served a prohibition notice last month over concerns that if a fire started, it could spread, and that if remedial work's not done, everyone in the building would have to leave by the end of the month. But yesterday what happened was people living on the higher floors were told to leave, ironically, because they were doing work inside to the fire escapes. One of the people living there who's had to leave is Jack.
It was a bit of a shock finding out about 6:15. I've managed to move in with family and find some storage at a place of work for my stuff, which we're currently in the process of moving. But I am, well, I guess I'm technically homeless till I can find a new property to move into.
Managers of the building, Love Your Block, has told us that good progress has been made, but the building might need to close further in the future. South Yorkshire Fire Service have apologised, but they say they were left with no other option.
We've had a number of issues with this building over the last 2 years, and due to the nature of the works that are conducted and are required in the building, it's really quite complicated. The more work that you do within the building, then you start removing the fire safety measures that are already in place. And we've got to a position whereby the works that have been undertaken yesterday have resulted in the fire safety measures that are absolutely necessary within the building being reduced to such a state that we're not happy with the
so
fire
there's
safety
plenty to be done to reassure South Yorkshire Fire Service that Wicker Riverside, the building behind me, is actually safe to live in.
Well, thank you. Let's bring you some more stories coming into our newsroom today. Nurses in Bridlington, York, Scarborough and South Yorkshire hospitals are on strike over pay. Members of the Royal College of Nursing Union are striking for 2 days, including at the Northern General Hospital. A number of operations and appointments have been postponed. It comes after 2 days of strikes before Christmas in the pay dispute.
The dispute is linked to pay, but if you talk to the nurses on the picket line, most of them won't mention their salary. They'll mention the exhaustion they feel, the fear they feel coming into work every day, knowing they're short of staff yet again, knowing they can't give the quality of care they want to give to the patients. That's their biggest motivator to be here today.
Meanwhile, there were more ambulance worker strikes on the horizon in Yorkshire. Almost 1,500 GMB union workers, including paramedics, emergency care assistants and call handlers, have announced they'll walk out. It's over ongoing pay disputes. The strikes are due to take place on the 6th and 20th of February and the 6th and 20th of March. A neurosurgeon investigating the death of a man following a series of remote GP appointments in Leeds has concluded he probably would have lived if he'd been taken to hospital earlier. 26-year-old David Nash had 4 phone consultations and made 5 calls to NHS 111 in autumn last year, but experts say he wasn't offered an urgent face-to-face appointment soon enough. David had developed mastoiditis in his ear, which caused a brain abscess that led to his death. The inquiry is due to continue on Friday. A fundraising page has been set up to transport the bodies of a mother and daughter back to Poland so that they can be buried by their family. 27-year-old Justina Hulaboy and 4-year-old Lena Sepsor were killed in a traffic incident in Leeds on Monday morning as the pair were walking to nursery. Tributes have been laid on Scott Hall Road where it happened. 2 men remain in custody after being arrested on suspicion of 2 offences of causing death by dangerous driving. A woman was also arrested on suspicion of assisting an offender and has been released on bail. West Yorkshire's Deputy Mayor for Policing insists all allegations against officers in our area are properly investigated. Now, this comes after it emerged London's Met Police missed opportunities to deal with an officer who went on to admit dozens of rape allegations. All police forces are now being ordered to check staff against national databases to identify if anyone slipped through the net. Alison Lowe says in West Yorkshire, things are done differently.
So clearly this case has once again reinforced the commitment that Tracy Baby, the Mayor, and I have to keep women and girls safe. We have been focusing on police misconduct, and I have got a lot of reassurance that though we are not perfect in West Yorkshire, and we obviously have our own issues to deal with, we are not in the position that the Met are, and hopefully never will be.
A shipping container complex in Sheffield city centre that's cost £500,000 and has been beset with problems is going to be dismantled. Sheffield City Council is going to carry out an investigation into the Fargate Container Park project. It opened last October, 5 months late, and will be taken down by the end of this month. Councillors will vote next week on what to do with the containers next.
How have we got into this terrible situation where we've wasted all this money? I mean, just think what we could have done with £500,000. Instead of this, we could have rented some of the empty units on Fargate, given the small businesses here a proper leg up and a great venue to build their business from.
Now, just over a year ago, you may remember, we spoke to Jacob Smiley from Bradford, who'd been selected for the NFL Combine, a scouting event looking for future stars of American football. Well, he didn't quite make it to America, well, not yet anyway, but he did go on to play professionally in Germany and Poland. Now he's back home in Yorkshire, where he's looking to get back into professional rugby again. He's been talking to Dave Edwards.
The NFL Combine, London 2021. 44 of the brightest young talents from around the world were put through their paces, all hoping to make it to the top as an American footballer. One of them was Jacob Smiley from Bradford.
It was a really good experience, obviously, to test yourself against some of the best athletes around the world. So maybe 12 in the UK. I think I was the only one that was selected from up north as well, so that was an achievement in itself. You got to meet, obviously, some NFL players in attendance. In the test went well, to be fair. I got like the 4th fastest 40-yard dash time.
1, 2, 3, run! It wasn't quite enough to earn Jacob a place in the US. Only 3 British athletes reached the next stage. But it was still the start of an incredible year, as Jacob signed professional contracts to play American football for clubs in Germany and then Poland.
I was like in the gym and one of the guys were like, "Oh, do you play for the Rebels?" And it kind of shocked me because I didn't really know how big it actually was over there. So it's a growing sport. As you can imagine, NFL is global, so European leagues is kind of like, you know, try to get up there, really, just trying to like establish yourself as a league. So I feel like in Germany for definite, it's massive in Germany and in Poland as well.
But he's now hoping to get back into rugby, the sport in which he started out as a teenager. And he's happy to be back home in Yorkshire.
There's no Weetabix over in Poland, so I can have that. So just everything, really. It's always good being back home, really. I feel like right now is like the best possible time just to return to the sport and obviously finish where I left off, really, and just try and obviously establish myself and obviously go on to do good things.
Jacob's training hard as he tries to find himself a club, hoping his experience in different countries and a different sport will help make a name for himself closer to home. Dave Edwards, BBC Look North, Bradford.
Next night, get your trainers on and catch up with Vicky Hogg from Doncaster. She's running 100 miles in 100 days. Yes, you heard me right. Crazy, isn't it? Fitting this feat of endurance around her day job as well. I've signed up to run just 1 marathon, so I went to meet her, hoping to pick up some tips. It's the end of a 7-hour shift for Vicky, who cares for elderly and vulnerable people in Doncaster. Rather than putting her feet up, it's trainers on and the hard work really starts. Vicky, hiya.
Hiya.
Ready to go?
I'm ready to go.
Vicky has set herself a seemingly impossible challenge of running 100 marathons in 100 consecutive days. This is day 8. How are you managing to fit all this around work?
Oh, literally just getting in from work, eating something nice to eat, and then half an hour rest and then off I go.
How's it going so far?
First few days, rough, getting food in, feeling a little bit weak and wobbly, but once my body got used to it and knowing we're going again, yeah, feeling good now.
Today she's running a 26-mile circuit from her home in Foster Houses, and there's no shortage of support. Mum Lynn is clocking up the miles too, but in the car.
Hiya, Lynn! Hello!
I think she's absolutely amazing. I'm so proud of her. This is the biggest one that she's ever done, and honestly, I absolutely burst with pride.
So I've done Land's End to John O'Groats bike and foot. I've ran across the country and cycled across the country, ran around South Yorkshire dressed as a giant boob for breast cancer, ran the length of Wales, a few marathons.
So this is a walk in the park for you?
Walk in the park. I wish.
Good luck, Vicky.
She's been documenting and sharing her daily runs on Facebook with the aim of raising money for 4 different charities.
Almost there, poor devil.
I don't class myself as a runner. I just enjoy going out for a run. I'm more of a fundraiser, that's what I class myself as.
A few miles in, we're joined by Doncaster boxer Terry Harper.
First I thought she was absolutely crazy, but again it's for a great cause, so I thought I'd get out and help her raise a bit more awareness and join in.
92 days left. Do you think you're going to do it?
Absolutely. Positive mind. Absolutely.
8 days and 209 miles nearly done. Just 92 days, 2,410 miles to go. Amazing, isn't she? Positive mindset, that's the tip I got. Think you can do it and you will. And finally tonight, last time it was feeling this cold, we were beating the streets of Stannington in South Yorkshire. Now you might remember, just before Christmas, a burst water main knocked out gas supplies, leaving thousands in the cold. It was so bad the show really could not go on the Stannington Players. They had to cancel their panto. Well, I'm pleased to say it is back on this weekend. So we sent Corinne to see how everyone was coming in from the cold. Corinne, it's over to you.
Good evening, Amy. Yes, the show that couldn't go on is back on. The Lomas Hall in Stannington in December was stacked high with blankets and heaters, and there were gas engineers running around desperately trying to get those 2,000 properties connected back to their gas supplies. That gas cut went on for 2 weeks in really bitterly cold weather, but I'm pleased to report that the stage is set and we can step aboard the good ship Jammy Dodger for an action-packed production of Treasure Island. Stephen is the director. Stephen, a bit of levity, a few laughs for Stannington after what was a pretty miserable time.
Yes, we felt we needed to put this on to make sure that people had a good time, to be honest, because, I mean, it's been a bit miserable at the moment, hasn't it? So this is a good laugh. This is something to brighten the mood. That's what this is.
And lots of people have stepped in to try and make this rearranged production, this rearranged panto, a success, haven't they?
They have indeed. I mean, people have taken on roles that they didn't expect. I myself have taken one on. I'm the director, but I'm actually playing the squire in this. So people have done that, and we've had support from all parts of the community as well. People have come in to help with the dancing, and we've had support from various groups who actually helped us out. So it's the community pulling together, and that's the main thing here.
Well, one of those people who stepped in to help is Phil, who has jumped into the skirts of Dame Hattie. He's on loan from the Grenoside Players. Dame Hattie, tell us about yourself.
Oh, well, my name's Dame Hattie Hawkins. I'm 28 years of age. I have 33 children, all under the age of 3. Yes, I stepped into the breach at the last minute. I mean, Stephen rang me at an unawkward time. He said, I had my head in the oven. I was washing my hair at the time at Stannington. Was that too soon?
And over here, to thwart the hero's progress, is writer Steve, also known as Billy Bones. Now, you've got something pretty special about your person, haven't you?
Well, yes. My name's Billy Bones, see, and I's got the treasure map from old Captain Flint. See, lots of people wants that treasure map, see, but they ain't never getting it.
Well, the tickets are sold out for the Saturday matinee, but they do have tickets left for Thursday, Friday and Saturday night. I'll leave it to Dame Hattie to do the big sell.
Yes, so if you're for a laugh, get...
Oh, Billy Bones sold it to me. That's all right. Tickets sold. He's here with the weather. Oh, yes, he is.
What was he going to say? I think we pulled the line there. There was...
I'm sure there was something humorous about going to see the panto. Oh, yes, there was.
Right, let's have a look at just how wintry it's looked across our part of the region. Very, very localised. This is Brighouse in West Yorkshire this morning with a light dusting of snow. If we move on to the next picture, that's a beautiful one on the Keighley and Worth Valley Railway. Looking picture perfect there in Haworth again. White frost deposits and a light flurry of snow. And that was Huddersfield at sunrise this morning. So yes, very localised. Most of us have just had clear blue skies, and that will be the way of it over the next 24 hours. If you've got any nice pretty pictures, send them in. We'll get them on the television tomorrow. Let's have a look at the headline then. It looks clear and quite sunny again tomorrow. A few snow showers again possible first thing in the morning, perhaps across Pennine, parts of West and South Yorkshire, but the rest of us will just see blue skies. And then a ridge of high pressure on Friday means a lot of sunshine holding these weather fronts at bay, but eventually the trend is for the winds to turn back round to the southwest. That will herald less cold and then potentially milder conditions next week, and the emphasis still on a lot of dry weather, and I think that's the way of it for the rest of January actually. A lot of fine settled weather to come. Now, we just had 1 or 2 snow showers slipping down from the North York Moors into East Yorkshire. They're fizzling now, so I think over the next few hours there is still a risk of a few wintry showers towards the coast, but the vast majority of our region again will be dry and clear with a widespread frost, and we'll see temperatures around -5 degrees Celsius. So tomorrow's high water times then, Filey at 1:26, Bridlington at 1:42. So a lot of sunshine, blue sky first thing, but there could be a few snow showers. Again, same locations as this morning. West Yorkshire Pennines down through the Peak District, but they soon move away. And then it's really sunshine all the way for many of us during the course of tomorrow. Still a chilly breeze. We're looking at temperatures temporarily reaching 4 Celsius. That's 39 degrees Fahrenheit. Further ahead then, it's a dry and sunny day again on Friday. It stays fine on Saturday with sunny spells, and then the trend is for more cloud into next week. That brings milder temperatures, on the whole dry, and as I say, that looks set to be the case for the rest of January. That's the forecast.
Thank you. It's Stannington Pantos on tomorrow, Friday and Saturday. If you do want to get tickets, it's Treasure Island. If you're in the area, show them some support because they've been through a really rough time, haven't they? That's it from us. Good night.